Hello, and welcome to Conversations with Nick Thompson. You may know me from Netflix Love is Blind, but on this podcast, we sit down with guests from all walks of life to hear their story, remove stigmas, and uncover what makes them tick. Our guest today, Linda Steele, is a really incredible human being, and her story is very relatable. I am so excited that she reached out to me on LinkedIn, actually asking if she could come on the show after listening to the podcast. Linda is a personal trainer. She's a wellness advisor, best-selling author of a book called Nerves of Steele, which is awesome play on her last name. And then she's also an international speaker. She is a very successful human, but she's also come from a place of growth. She is very open about how trauma from her younger years has impacted her life and her relationships and her personal situationships, as she calls them, with past partners. But what's really cool about Linda is her self-awareness. She has to not just overcome her trauma, but she has to learn to be comfortable living with it. And when she explains it very relatably, because all of us have come from some form of trauma, we've all been struggling, with our childhood in some way, through school, through family relations, through other relationships that we've had in our life. So we're all dealing with some form of trauma. And I really enjoy the way that Linda speaks about it and the way that she tells her story and how she is very aware of the role that she plays in other people's lives, like her 3 daughters and her clients that she works with on personal training and wellness. And I really am excited to have this conversation with her. I think you guys are going to enjoy it. You're going to learn a little bit about Linda. You're going to learn a little bit about her journey. And we're going to talk about all of the things that helped make her who she is today and the growth that she's had personally, where she started, how she got where she's going, and then, of course, where is she going? So without further ado, let's get right to it. This is Linda Steele, and I am excited to have her on this podcast episode.
Yeah. And then, when I became, when I did that, and that was a big part of what, made me grow. You start walking a little taller, you start feeling empowered, you start, then you start looking at other aspects of your life and you're like, hold on, this is wrong too. I don't like the way she treats me. That's it. I'm going to teach my daughters again,
Snowball,
or whoever's watching. You're the only one in control of your life. You're the only one in control of how people are going to treat you. At the end of the day, we are 100% in control. Even, unfortunately, it's going to mean saying goodbye.
Yeah.
Because you can't actually make somebody treat you well. But you can say, you're not going to treat me like that because you're not going to be in my life anymore.
Right. And that's their loss. Right. And they'll find someone else if they don't want to, be introspective, they'll find somebody else that they can go and treat poorly. And it's unfortunate, but I feel like people, or from what I hear from people, whenever I talk about boundaries or someone messages me, and these are people, friends too, but like more so like social media people, they always say to me, but it's so hard because I don't want to upset person X. And that, yes, I get that. But what about the upsetting they're doing to you? Do you think they're thinking about that?
Not at all. I always think it's me or them. And quite frankly, when somebody starts affecting you where the BS starts consuming you during the day on a regular day, that's not good.
Mm-hmm.
That's not good. And when that's consuming you, because you think about it when you wake up in the morning. You think about it when you're in the shower. You laugh and you're having a good time, and then you think about it again. That's
dread.
When it's time.
Yeah. So self-care, like I always say too, like if I feel like this is just me spouting off all these things I always say at this point, but like if you're not taking care of yourself, no one is. Like if you're not putting yourself first, no one is. And that I think is such a powerful statement because it's true. Like no one else is going to put you first. They're all putting themselves first. So you putting someone else, first or their needs first when it's hurting you, like that's That's
It's
like a double whammy.
It is, and I saw that, and I don't know if I saw that on your Instagram or if I saw it on one of your podcasts, but I saw that you said that, and it goes along with I did a speaking event at the Best You in Long Beach a few years back, and my whole 45-minute talk was about taking care of yourself so that you could be more valuable to others.
Yes. That's
Because you're
so
not,
true. That's exactly it.
right? If you don't put yourself first, both physically and mentally, if you don't take care of that, what can you possibly do to help everybody around you who needs you?
You can.
You're given like 40% because you're just beaten down. You
Yeah.
have to take care of yourself.
That's exactly the message I share with like people that I coach. I say like, if you don't do the work here, if you don't take care of, if you don't connect with yourself, you can't connect with others. And in order for you to connect with yourself, you have to know like what you are and are not comfortable with, what you can and cannot deal with, what you will and will not put up with, who you want to be. And when conflict comes, and this is where like knowing your values matters, right? When conflict comes and you act within your character, then you don't give as much, you don't lose as much, and you can sleep at night and it doesn't plague your brain because like you were just being you in that conflict.
Right.
And again, people like they struggle with, I think so many people just struggle with that. But if you don't connect with yourself continuously, building that connection, you will never be able to connect healthy with other people.
You're so right. And, I know a lot of us, it's our natural instinct to want to help. And it's not that we can't help, but you have to schedule yourself first. You have to schedule them second. For instance, this morning I knew that I looked at my schedule and I knew that I was going to have an evening where I had to get a few things done. So I looked at my schedule. I had no intentions of working out this morning. But when I looked at my schedule at 7 o'clock this morning, I realized that the only time I was going to get a workout in was going to be between 8 and 10. So I did it. And that was not my intention.
This morning?
Yeah, that was not
Good for you.
Thank you. My intention was, I'll get it in at some point. And then I looked at my schedule and said, no, I'm not.
No, you're not.
So, you just have to you have to schedule time for yourself. And sometimes it's the only way that it works. So I try to look at my schedule at the beginning of the week to decide when I'm going to do stuff. I actually put on my schedule workout, just like I do hair appointment or dentist appointment or annual exam. Just like I do those things, I put workout in my schedule. And that's how I know I'm going to come first, because it's scheduled and I'm going to stick to it.
I think that's brilliant. I think more and more people should be making lists, booking their time in their schedule. Another thing I always, push my, I hate saying clients, but push my clients to do is like schedule a 15-minute walk regularly in your schedule, whether it's at work, whether it's your personal one, whatever it is, and go take a walk. If it's cold outside, like it is in Chicago these days, walk around your living room, just pace and get your body, like you have to do these things. Otherwise there's always something more to do. There's always something more to do.
There's one person in charge of you, and that's you.
Yes.
That's it.
I love that. So what is it? So you do some wellness advising too. What's your process? What do you help people with?
Everything. My gosh, it's so funny. So I have clients. I'm a personal trainer by day, and I have, clients hour by hour, which means a different personality and a different person, different shapes, different sizes, men, women. I train everybody, different ages. My age ranges from 12 up to 82 years old.
Holy cow.
So I get a lot of different personalities during the day. And what's great, well, I don't know if it's great, but what's unique is that even though I might have the same person 3 times a week, a different person is going to walk in on their hour, because I don't know what kind of day they're having. I don't know if they just had a fight with their spouse, if their kid just, got a ding on their car and now they have that to deal with. I don't know if, they had to put their dog down. Like, there are really big things that go on in people's lives. So you never know that even though you know who's walking in the door, you don't really know who's walking in the door. So I have to be prepared at the beginning of every hour of anything that's going to come my way. So I might think we're going to do, shoulders and back today, but really what we're going to do is we're going to sit in my office and I'm going to watch them cry, and I'm going to, try to make them feel better with whatever situation they're dealing with. Sometimes we could work out on the floor and have this little chit chat too, but sometimes people just don't have it in them. You just don't know.
Oh
So
my
I do the
gosh.
best I can giving advice on things. Most of the time I just listen because I'm not a licensed therapist, but
I
I
was going to say you might have to moonlight and get your licensed therapist degree so you can do this at the same time.
I'm thinking you might be right. Thinking you might be right. And Lord knows I've had enough practice because I've been doing this for about 19 years and my
Oh
schedule's been
wow.
full ever since I started. So I literally have seen so many things. And I just either listen or I give the best advice based on other experiences, my experiences, other clients' experiences. And so I can deal with, like I said, I just mentioned some of the things that I could deal with as they're walking in the door. I
Hmm.
just do the best I can. I have a client who was suicidal for years,
Oh my
and
gosh.
and I never knew if I was saying the right thing, and I almost thought saying nothing but. And she was under good care. She was
Good.
on meds, and she was in the care of a psychiatrist and so forth. So she was on all the right stuff, but still, you know, I almost wish you just didn't say anything. But I asked her once, can please be honest with me. I don't know if and she says, no, you're doing great. You're doing great.
Yeah.
And I, so again, we don't know because nobody comes with a manual. We don't know what's going to make them
Mm-mm.
tick. We don't know. We just do the best we can.
Yeah.
So what do I do? I don't, it's different. It's different with every person because I get so many different things coming my way.
I bet. I love that you say it's doing the best that you can. And I try to take that approach too. Like I know I'm doing the best I can. I don't always say the right things. I'm not always right. I'm wrong a lot.
Hmm.
I have a lot of times that I'm right, but I'm doing the best I can. And if everyone's doing the best they can, show some grace to people. But
Absolutely.
I feel like I've never been in a conversation maybe quite as extensive as that one is, but I do know, and I have to work at this because I want to fix, right? I want to give advice. I want to fix, but sometimes it's just that open ear. It's that active listening. It's acknowledging that they feel that way,
Hmm.
and not saying something like, "Oh, you have so much going for." Like, let me tell you, just so since the last 6 months, I've been divorced. I lost my job.
Right.
I'm, yeah, I mean, it's just like, it was awful. Like I had a horrible end to the year. It was supposed to be the best year of my life. And it was horrible. And, everyone kept just saying, oh, you got a lot going for you, or you'll get another job. You'll meet the right person. It's like, no, like I'm experiencing a lot of loss and a lot of grief. Like I don't want to hear that. And
Hmm.
I think people too think just because in a sense too, they saw like my relationship on TV that it's like not real or something, which is not true. Like it's real. I still grieve it. I still miss it. I still sometimes wish things were different. And people just they just want to like check the box. I don't even know if that's the right way. They just want to like say something so that they feel like they've done something for you instead of just listening and
Do you know?
acknowledging.
Do you know what seems to be the most popular answer when somebody comes to me and they have this stuff? I try to respond with, "Wow, that sounds so frustrating," or
Yeah.
"Damn, yeah, I could see where you're upset about that." Like I just validate their feelings,
Hmm.
and sometimes that's all people want. They want to be validated, and
Yeah.
and we're so you know we're just so used to doing what you say people do to you. Oh, but let's all check off all the good things you have going on. Well, I know all those good things, but
Yeah.
this is a bad thing. So it's not like they counteract. It's not like you could check the box good in the good column and the bad column and go, oh,
Yep.
well, at the end of the day, I'm just about even. So let's just move on. No, you're going to grieve a divorce. You're going to
Right.
grieve the loss of a job. My gosh, that's so scary.
It's one of the top five things like psychologists say is a top five traumatic event. Both of those, divorce, loss, or death, divorce, loss of job. I forget the other ones, but yeah, they're traumatizing events, and they really impact people. And when they all happen at once, like they did for me, I just wanted someone to be like, I'm sorry. Like, I'm sorry you're suffering. That must be really hard. Like you said.
I have a friend right now. He lost his job a few years back. He actually quit his job, and I believe it was he was maybe getting forced out, but he was able to quit.
Gotcha.
And he's a brilliant man, and he's been on a number of interviews, and he's struggling to get a job again. And every time he says, "Oh my gosh, I have an interview with this place," I'm like, "Oh my gosh, good luck, good luck." I'm like rooting for him.
Yeah.
And when it doesn't work out, I'm crushed for him because I know he's just crushed. And as friends and family, you feel what these people are feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what to say. And he winds up being more positive than I am. He's like, well, and he says something positive each time. And I know that can't possibly be how he's really, really feeling. He's just trying to talk himself up. And God bless him for that, because that's a really tough situation to be in. Very tough.
It is. And it's so cold.